we're back with another installment of Red Dead Redemption 2. Welcome to the video. Today, we're delving into episode 6 in the series of things that some players may have missed in this 2018 title. This may range from hidden dialogue, continuity, scenes that players have missed, or in-world interactions for example. Some you may know, others you may not, or this all may be new to you. Each one will be separated into its own chapter, so if you're watching one that you're already aware of, you have the ability to skip forward to the next. After you watch today's video, if you feel there are hidden things that you found that you believe a lot of other players may have missed, feel free to let us know in the comment section below. And of course, if you enjoy what you see, please hit like, subscribe and share with friends and family, or anyone you may feel would enjoy content such as this. Please be aware there will be spoilers ahead for the story of the game. You're listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming, and with that being said, let's get into what we came here to see. 15 secrets still unseen by some players. Part 6. After the gang are forced to flee their camp at Horseshoe Overlook and set up in Clemens Point, Bill Williamson, feeling irked that they didn't hit the bank back in Valentine, wants to put together a small posse, head back up north and do what outlaws do best. The foursome of Arthur, Bill, Karen and Lenny head out on their way to perform the heist. After deciding which distraction they want to use, whether it be Karen playing the lost little girl or the drunken harlot, it's time for the gang to head on in. Normally, Arthur is at the forefront of the assault, but what some players may have missed is what happens if he hangs back a little. In doing so, Bill will express his annoyance towards him, and both he and Lenny will take the lead instead.
What are you playing at? Let's go!
You know me. Don't you
Come on,
see
let's
what
get in there.
Come on, sweetie. You get your
Forget him.
goddamn hands
You
up.
good?
This is a goddamn robbery.
Let's go. Nobody move! Get a word up! Nobody move! Don't make us hurt you!
Hunting wildlife can be a dangerous sport, especially when tracking bigger game such as the alligators in the bayou to the south. There's a tiny animation that goes unnoticed by a few of the players, and it comes right as Arthur is about to scalp his prey. Due to the gator being a very dangerous reptilian, feeling it's better to be safe than sorry, Arthur will always give the body a little kick before skinning, just to ensure that it's actually dead. This skin is especially handy if you're looking to purchase the Alligator Ranch cutter saddle from the trapper's stall. Speaking of purchasing, let me take a quick 30 seconds of your time to tell you about a small business store called Mystic Boo. Over on their Etsy page, you'll find all kinds of handcrafted items, such as rings and other jewellery accessories, digital prints, and artwork for your home. With every item either being £10 or less, plus free delivery in the United Kingdom, this could be the perfect gift for either yourself or your home. With over 70 items to choose from, you're sure to find something you'd like. I'll leave the direct link to the website in the video description below for anyone wishing to take a look. Now back to the video. The northern region of Amberino homes a waterfall that leads its way to Lake Isabella further south. Due to the icy temperatures of the area, the cascade has completely frozen over. As you draw closer to the site, you will notice that there's not only exploration gear, but also the remains of a man and his horse. What convinced this traveller to set up camp in such a remote and dangerously cold location remains a mystery. On a quick side note at this site, in a lockbox you can also find the Hawk Talon trinket, which is very useful for anyone wishing to hunt with a bow and arrow. The level of detail in this game is astounding. Most players will of course be aware that heading to either the more northern or southern regions will affect the temperature of both Arthur's cause and the world itself. But have you ever checked the temperature gauge in the game if you stand too close to a fire? One of the more easier ways to do this is with a throwable Molotov. As you can see, we're in the Scarlet Meadows area, where it's currently 26 degrees, and as we throw the Molotov, it quickly changes to 33 degrees. As we draw closer, it raises dramatically to over 100. Of course, if you really wish to test this out, by standing inside the direct flames, you will see that the temperature soar to well over 300. There's a hidden animation that most players are yet to experience, and it will only happen once during their playthrough. To the south in Lemoyne, along the tracks near the state signpost, at around 3 AM, players can trigger a ghostly apparition. From a distance, you will hear the chugging of a locomotive. Seconds later, accompanied by the sound of its whistle, you will witness the terrifying sight for yourself before it disappears into the darkness for good. While on the subject of ghosts, let's take a look at an interaction between the lovable Reverend Swanson and Tilly Jackson. This occurs in chapter 4 of the title, in the Shady Bell camp.
There's ghosts in the swamp. Ghosts.
How you keeping, Abigail?
In your head, Reverend.
Ghosts. Ghosts. I saw a ghost. A young woman.
You've lost your mind. You poor bastard.
You all right, Reverend?
I know what I saw. A girl. A ghost of a girl in white.
Okay. All right, well, I should be getting on.
All right.
The ghost that the Reverend is referring to is one Agnes Dowd, a young lady who tragically took both her own life and others. The spirit of Agnes can be witnessed during foggy nights in the bayou. Agnes's gravesite can also be found to the rear of Shady Bell. For those wishing to know more about this tale, I have an entire video on this, which I'll leave in the description below. Let's move on to some less disturbing things. During everyone's favourite mission, A Quiet Time, where Arthur and Lenny head to Valentine to get themselves good and drunk, Arthur keeps losing track of his friends as the night progresses. In some entertainingly drunken scenes, Arthur shouts for his friend over and over.
Lenny, where are you? Lenny? Lenny!
What some may not have realised is that later in the game, if Arthur returns to the Smithfield Saloon and once again gets himself quite intoxicated, there's a small hidden dialogue that can be triggered.
Lenny! Oh, not again. You dope.
Every horse deserves a strong name, and as you will be aware, you can rename your horse at any of the stables in the game. Immediately since its release in 2018, players quickly realised that they couldn't use profanity of any sort when naming their mount. But did you realise that this isn't solely limited just to bad words? For example, if you attempt to use branded words such as Nintendo, PlayStation, or even Rockstar, this will still fall under the profanity breach, forcing you to rename. The next one is a small feature, but one I personally didn't realise you could do, so maybe some others missed it too. Train rides can be fun, but it's more fun if you choose to become the driver. Most have probably enjoyed this pastime, but did you know there's a little animation that you can perform while driving? Unfortunately, I'm not sure of the button prompt for console, but if you're using a keyboard and mouse like myself, pressing the letter D will let Arthur hang his head out of the driver's window, giving himself a much more enjoyable view. This can also be done in first person mode. Near Lake Don Julio in Cholla Springs, there's an old farmhouse called VENTOR'S place. Upon approaching, you'll quickly learn that it's currently inhabited by members of the ruthless Del Lobo gang. While one is relieving himself, upon noticing the player, he will become startled, thus beginning a firefight. But if you choose to keep your distance and allow him to return to the home, you'll notice a few minutes later that a lady appears from inside before fleeing. At first, it's unknown just what she was doing with the gang, but with the use of a little camera trickery, we can find out exactly what her intentions were. The village of Butcher's Creek has been ambushed by way of poison in their section of the Camisar River, as shown in the side quest, The Wisdom of the Elders. What some may not have realised is that it's not only the human occupants that have been infected. If you choose to go to the water's edge, you will notice upon the bed that there are multiple deceased fish just laying there, and if you choose to pull out your rod and try to catch yourself some lunch, it may not be as appetizing as you first thought.
No, you don't look right. Bluegill, okay.
If you're out hunting, there's something that players may not have realised about the ferocious bears in the game. If you're ever confronted by a bear, most people will tend to either flee or fight back. But if you stand your ground, stay as still as possible, and don't react, did you know that the bear will not attack? This will come in especially handy if your player is low on ammunition, and it's something that some may not have known about. Although there are many things to see and do in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, if you're ever in the mood for a little harmless fun, did you realise that if you come across a group of sleeping livestock, you can wake them by whistling? This will probably work with a gunshot too, although that might bring you some unwanted attention.
Every time. Damn horse.
In Chapter 2, during a fishing trip with Jack, on the ride to the waters, Jack tells of how he forgot his storybook back in Blackwater due to the gang being forced to flee their camp very quickly. This prompts an item request for the player to complete. There are a few different books that Arthur can retrieve. For example, there's a copy of Otis Miller and the Arabian Prince that can be found at Clawson's Rest and The Boy from New York right here in Pleasance. Fast forward to the epilogue in 1907, during several scenes with John, Abigail, and their now much older son, Jack can be seen reading these books in the cutscenes. This is a subtle nod back to Arthur Morgan, showing that Jack has fond memories about his uncle. Lastly today, we have a conversation between Kieran Duffy and Abigail Roberts that's pretty easy to miss. At the end of Chapter 3, after we learn that Jack is being held captive by Angelo Bronte, Hosea tells the gang that Kieran thought he saw a couple of the Braithwaite boys around camp, right before they kidnapped young Jack. Overwhelmed with guilt, when at Shady Belle, Kieran will attempt to apologise to Abigail for not protecting Jack.
Miss Abigail, I just want to say hello. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about Jack. And I saw some of those breakaway
Arthur, it is good to see you.
You okay, Mary Beth?
Just great, but I nearly got killed
You
by...
mind if
dealings
we
with him.
talk later? I've got a lot.
Didn't seem serious. And I don't know anybody who would kidnap a boy. I feel like a fool. I would gladly give my life for his. Not that it matters or that it works that way. But I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
You've been listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming, and that was 15 Secrets Still Unseen by Some Players, Part 6. If you enjoyed what you saw today, be sure to hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share with friends and family, or anyone you may feel would enjoy content such as this. Don't forget to head on over to the Mystic Boo Etsy page and see if you can't find yourself an item that you'd love. If you know of any secrets that you think some players may have missed, be sure to let us know down in the comment section. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.